Hello, Monae. Welcome to Inside the Industry. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am honored to have you on with us.
I am honored to be here. There's nowhere else I'd rather be.
That makes me feel really good. Thank you so much. We are so stoked. I'm honored because you're one of these artists that have been around. You've been doing this for over 2 decades. You are extremely round in what you do. And not only do you just do hair, you've dabbled in makeup, and you're also an entrepreneur to like the fullest degree, in a sense that you've really taken your artistry and elevated it and put it in all the pockets of business that you can to continue to evolve in education, share your skills, build your brand. You have a book out. We're going to dive into a lot of stuff. And I really just want to get right into it from the meat of the beginning, because the biggest question I feel like I have for you, somebody as an artist of yourself on that caliber, and you have your hands in so many pockets, what do you feel like is the key to longevity in this career, as far as what you have seen for yourself? Because you've been doing it for so long, but you're continuing to evolve. What are some tricks and just tools that you've been doing that's kept you going so full front?
I would say a tip for longevity in this career has to be diversity on every aspect possible. You have to be diverse in your skill set, diverse in your education, diverse in the jobs you're willing to do and take, just all around. It's difficult to be stuck in one thing in this industry if you want to make it.
I agree. So, because you've done, I mean, your work has been on the cover of magazines, honey. You do a large span of celebrity clientele, but you've also, I believe, have done TV and film. Like, you've dipped your hands into a lot of the arenas. Have you ever done theater? Have you done any theater?
I have done theater, but I've not done theater since the beginning of my career. I have done theater.
All right. See, then you really, you've really done like full circle, like everything they've told us, from fashion to commercial to private clients, all of it. Do you have a favorite? Do you have anything that you really like, you find your niche in?
Believe it or not, I feel like my niche is in public speaking about beauty and the politics associated with beauty. Yeah. But I would say in terms of clientele, it probably would be like red carpet, because red carpet tells all your secrets. There is no getting around it. Or beauty shots. Both of them, you really cannot hide anything. Yeah. So I love that, because that is like a test to see, like, are you ready?
Right. No, truly. I mean, that's something of an area that I'd like to dip into myself. And I kind of like that you say that it's the area where you have no secrets, only because truly, as a hairstylist, why do you feel that is? Is it simply lighting? Is it the timing? Is it the kind of the depth, or the, high intensity of how serious and big either the award show could be? What is it? Or is it a combination of all?
It's all of that. Plus, for red carpet, you're not there to adjust anything on the hair. So whatever you did with it is how it's going to photo. You're also relying on the client to have not fell asleep in the limo on the way there.
Oh my God.
Or not allowed somebody to hug her and pull her weave out, or, something like that.
So many things.
It will tell more than you want it to tell. And, it's hair is always a collaboration. I always tell a joke that on set, no one touches the makeup, no one touches the camera, no one touches the clothes. Everybody touches the hair.
Yep.
Clearly you see how I feel about that.
Just like a slight frustration I'm reading, but like, it's fine.
Just slight. Okay. And the beauty shoots, well, I just gave part of the challenge with that, but also because makeup can be edited, backgrounds can be edited. It is exceptionally difficult to get great hair editing. And I'm saying this to say that if you don't do that hair right, they are going to be able to tell. And then you're also able to tell when the magazine attempted to fix it. So those big beauty shots where the frame is this. Okay, another frustration is that photographers always want to cut off the hair somewhere, but
oh my God, no, I hate that too. I've had hairstylists ask me that too, because I'm like, oh, I'd love to do a beauty test, or it's a beauty shoot, and they're like, how much is the hair actually going to be seen? Like, are we up
Yes.
here? Like, am I going to do all the styling or sleek style or wherever it might be? And am I going to see literally just my hairline? Like, what is it? And so I try
Yeah.
to be as complimentary to them as possible, give them those wides and show off their work as well. But 100% agree on that frustration. It's very
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with deciding you want to crop in the shot, but give
Sure.
me the shot to begin with.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Give
we
me
can
something to work
decide
with.
here.
Exactly. No, I feel you. Dang. And that's kind of crazy. I want to dip back to even the red carpet only because with that and being beauty, is there ever a case in which you do go with them on the red carpet, or is that more select than people think?
More selected people, like I have some clients that I may go with, but very select
That's
clients.
great. See, I really had no idea about that. I really truly thought, oh, you know what? They're right there on the red carpet with them. I feel like maybe makeup artists have the one up on that only because of sweat and maybe, and they're just assuming hair is going to
Yes.
last longer. Is that true? I would assume maybe.
Yes, and just logistics of
Yeah.
their manager has to be there. Generally, their
Mhm.
PR rep is there, whoever's accompanying them.
Right.
So that's already 4 people, plus add hair, plus makeup, plus
Right.
sometimes
You gotta,
wardrobe. That's 7. That's like a big crowd. I mean, like you can't even get that many people in a regular car.
right. No, you got a full entourage at that point. It's too busy. It's too much.
Yeah, so
Dang.
not too often, but if it's like an award show,
Mhm.
that they are the focus, maybe you're with them,
Okay.
or if it's something where if they're hosting or performing there,
Mhm.
maybe there will be a room upstairs for you so you can go down with them. But the
Yeah.
majority of clients can't host or can't perform, so no.
My
And there's nothing wrong with if you're doing that, D-list celebrity and
God.
they're excited the first time they're at the
Right.
Oscars, the Academy Awards, the Grammys or whatever, and you're still going to get your red carpet shots. I think a lot of times we get really caught up in, those A-list club celebrities. Yes, it's wonderful to get to them, but it takes
Yeah.
generally a really long time to get to. And
Yeah.
it's not very often that artists are ever able to
Mhm.
really get to that caliber, but celebrate where you are. And if you
Yeah.
have a client, if you have the writer of the movie that nobody may know their name, but they're going to the Academy Awards, it's a big deal and you'll get shots for the red carpet.
Yeah, I don't. I agree with that. I don't think people realize as much as that. I think they reach for the J Lo's or the Beyonces or whatever. It's like there's a lot of, and that's not to talk down on even just other artists in their caliber, but it's like we always reach for the top when there's so much to be celebrated on the in between, if you will,
Yeah.
and the people that are just the up and comers, or like you're saying, the writers or directors. Like it's just as much of a proud, successful moment to get those red carpet images and just to have yourself be on the caliber where your work is being seen by so many eyes in that sense.
Yes.
Have you ever
And
had go ahead, go
let
ahead.
me give you a tip on that too.
Love it, yeah.
Is people think like, okay, if Beyonce hired me for Mama Tina, you'd be excited. Of course, right?
Yeah.
J-Lo's mama, to do her hair or makeup would be phenomenal. But here's what people don't realize.
Mm.
If you're hired in that close proximity, you're actually a part of that celebrity's entourage. You're probably on the short list for if their artist doesn't work out for whatever reason. So take everything you do as an interview and a step up. Yes, Mama Tina is fly. So if I got, booked for her, I'd be very happy as well. But that's for anybody. You get what I'm saying? Even Tyler
Yes,
Perry's mama. If
yes.
you, are doing her makeup, he's
Mhm.
looking to say, well, if anything ever happened to mine, at least I know a next person to go to. So look at every job as an interview.
Exactly. 1,000%. And I love that. And I think goes the same for assisting and
Yes.
everything else. It really is just an opportunity and it can propel you to the next thing, the next client. It's all just a nice journey. So fully agree on that, 1,000%. Is there any time you've had either on red carpet, beauty, just in your work in general, where there's been a moment for you where you've felt doubt or it's been real? I think we all go through it. This isn't even like a
A
solidified like one
moment.
time. Right, right. You're like, how long do we have? I know we've all made mistakes. We've all had the like, oh, imposter syndrome moments of just like, how am I even here? Or you get tripped up, or maybe you're just at a place in your life. Because I as an artist, I'm trying to find the balance within being a human and living my life outside of my work and my career. And then, when stuff maybe isn't right in that arena, but I got to show up and do the job, it's finding how to really marry the two and show up and still do the job. It's so hard when I'm such a personal person. So
Yeah.
I'm learning as I mature and continue through my career how to be able to push through when life gets hard and still perform 110%, giving my personality and everything I can to offer to that client. Hopefully, and safe to say, I've never had an opportunity or moment where I've ever derailed my career because if I've been such a wreck on set or anything like that.
Yeah.
But has
But
there
it's
been
hard.
anything for you? Super hard. I mean, we're humans working on humans. It's a very intimate line of work that we do.
Yeah.
It's hard not to get personal, or especially if you have a continuous client where they get to know you. They know your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girl. They know all the things about you and what you're going through. And so to bring that back, is there any moment in your life where you're like, that was really hard, and how did you kind of get out of it?
Numerous times.
Yeah.
I mean, beyond numerous times. And I've been really blessed that for the most part, I just didn't happen to be booked at those times. But I've had to tell my truth, which is that life goes better for me when I'm in a relationship. You know, and if your relationship is not going well, it's almost impossible to not bring that to work. People claim they don't, but if a part of your life is really out of balance, it's very difficult. And I've had to explain that to men before. I personally, my work suffers if I'm unhappy, but I don't think that that's unique to me. I think a lot of us we don't want to admit that. You get what I'm saying? But you know, it's no different than why we're more likely to elect an elected official who's married, because heartbreak is real. And we know that if this person is in a position of leadership and they're in a situation where they're unsteady in love, we don't know what actions they're going to make professionally. None of this is PC to say. So I'm going to say these have been my experiences.
No, and that's the thing. Yeah, exactly. This is always to the individual. So take it for what we will, of course.
Yeah. This work-life balance thing is a very interesting thing that I've heard. But, you know, some things that help me keep my work-life balance, I would say, are more learning boundaries. And I think that's a really cute word, but I make sarcastic jokes about that. Like, I can recall the times that I go to work with a celebrity, and maybe we're there 8 hours, and the celebrity might stop to eat twice and not ask me if I'm hungry at all.
Right.
So that helps me keep my boundaries in place of knowing I am providing a service for them. We are not friends.
Right.
You know, or when someone, so I'm very clear that if I'm unable to do my job, that celebrity friend in my head, it doesn't say, hey, come and stay with me rent free.
Right.
I have worked with clients in snowstorms who had hotel rooms who didn't say, hey, stay here with me. They said, oh my God, well, I'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully you get home safe.
Right.
What that says to me is I am solely here to provide a service, and they never want it to be assumed that I am too close to them. So this is how I keep my boundaries, because many times you want to be friends with them, you want to hang out, you want to do this and do that. But as soon as they are able to show that, you know, when someone better comes along, generally they'll make that choice. So that reminds me that I have to choose me, because I am not their priority.
Yes, no, 1,000%. And we hear it a lot more often now, I feel like, especially being in quarantine and whatever. And again, it's just gone for years. This is not anything new. 1,000%. And I think it goes on the back end too, where I feel like sometimes you can tell when a client gets too comfortable with you and you're like, are you trying to be too friendly with me? So then that way, maybe on the back end, you can pull the friend card of like, whether it be service rates are adjusting or what they ask of you changes because, well, we're friends and I expect more of my friend, but you're like, oh, and then you have to be the one to pull back to be like, no, this is I am doing this. So it's crazy how it can go on both ends.
Yes.
Finding that balance. Yeah.
Because generally you're only their friend when they need from you. How often are you their friend when you need something?
Right.
And then, you know, listen to the conversations they have about other artists, you know?
Yeah, no, it's very interesting and to pay attention to 1,000%. That I've learned because I'm always trying to find the place in between, because if people ask me my experience with a past job or whatever, and I'll never say names or anything like that, but I'll be very honest about a situation or things I've gone through. And I've even learned you even got to be a little bit, because you don't know how people will perceive it. And if they're taking the less you say on set, which is me, a very talkative, open individual.
You and I both. You're like,
oh, it will come to bite you. And that I have learned, and it's been unfortunate and quite that's been a big curve for myself. And if you've experienced it as well, where I'm like, wow, yeah, no, people don't really want the truth. They don't.
Oh no, even
they
if
want
they
the
ask you
nicety.
for it.
No, they don't want it, because if you want to ask me my experience or how was that job or what was it, because now it's perceived as gossiping or talking, I'm like, all right, well then forget what I said. You don't
Or
want my
negative
truth.
Nancy, because you're telling newer artists
Right.
some things to be aware of.
Right.
We provide a service. Think of us as when you go to the shoe store and you pick out life-changing shoes. How many times do you remember the person who helped you pick out the shoes? I mean, these shoes, you never had heels like this. You never felt so good. You never had as many advances in your life. These are your lucky shoes. Where's the person that helped you find it? That took 2 hours going back and forth and special ordered and dyed them and stretched them for you.
That's a really crazy analogy and super accurate. So that's a gem and people need to write that down. That's excellent. Yeah. It's 1,000%. It's, you know, we got to do our job, but also keep yourself in mind at all times as far as, you know, keeping it tight right in. I love that. My God. Well, and that's the other thing too. I wanted to say, even just on your kind of the actual logistics of your job as well, because that's more of like the boundaries, but I wanted to know as well, when is there anything, I don't really talk much about products on this podcast because I just feel like that's for other people. My knowledge in that isn't the thing, but as far as even just being prepared as an artist that you've been around for quite some time, you've gone through many different, like you say, you work with a bunch of different hair types. You haven't like limited yourself, like you said, very diverse in your work. Is there anything for newer artists, you know, really starting out, that would be some things, even if we just list top 3 things that you feel like they should have as they're really trying to start their career off? Because I won't list products in a sense of like, you need this, but there are certain things I often recommend a color wheel in their kit because they need to understand color theory.
Yeah.
Is there anything as a hairstylist where you're like, these are going to be quick go-tos that are really going to help you excel in any situation?
Yeah, so a flat iron, because you can do any curl with that. So make sure you actually know how to do any curl with the flat iron. Really work that flat iron, work it for the edges, work it for short hair, work it for long hair. A general is make sure that your products can be used on, at bare minimum, 3 out of 4 hair textures. You just cannot afford to carry around products that can only be used on one hair type. Even a hair gel that says for curly girls, make sure that you can use that to lay the hairline. Make sure that you can use that for a blowout, because God only gave you one back and one set of arms. You know, don't carry all of this extra stuff that you can't really use, because people expect us to be a store on wheels, and they're never going to take into consideration that each 16-ounce product is a pound.
Right.
If you're carrying 50 products, that's 50 pounds before your tools.
Right.
What else? I would say, going back to tools, learn how to use your pro tools in a way for whatever gimmick is coming out. I don't want to call this a gimmick, but I'll give an example. Like the styling wands are really a big deal. You don't need a curling iron and a styling wand. Learn to work that curling iron like a wand. Save your back, save your wrist. And I would say rely more on curling irons than flat irons, even though a flat iron is important because you can use it as your backup, but rely more on curling irons to save your wrist. Learn to work in a way to save your body, save your wrist. Carpal tunnel is no fun. You don't need it in your life.
No. And that's why I asked. I knew you were going to give me some good tips here, only because I feel like I've just seen so many, whether it be influencer types or whomever, where they're suggesting just a dozen million products. And I think it's extremely intimidating to upcoming artists, where they feel in order to do the job right or be successful or get the big gig, they have to have X amount of products or tools or that certain tool or that certain brand in their pocket. And it's just not so. It's more about the technique, simplifying, like you said, somebody that's been in this career for a minute, taking care of your body and being smart with packing and carrying it around and the logistics of the day and in and out of it is more concrete and on the forefront of what you need to know than X, Y, and Z. So I thoroughly
as your career evolves, you may find that your clients respond to different types of products, and that's fine. A really high-end product, you know, if you can only afford one and you have that in your kit, you know, even if it's just for display to make that client feel good, that's great. But you can't have 50 of those. You will not be able to carry them.
Not logistic at all. And I feel like, Monae, you're such a willing, not only with your book, which I love, and I love that it's out, and you're so willing to give information. And it's crazy to say that it still is such a select group of really seasoned artists that are willing to share their tricks of the trade. And not only just technique, but the business side. How do you get booked? How do you, for example, how do we get these celebrity clients? How are you going to get in that realm? How do you get in those rooms? That is so vital and huge. What allows you, and what is it about you that makes you so willing to share?
You know, I titled my book, Get Out of Your Own Way, because there were so many things I didn't know. So then I started guessing, or I would talk to people who I thought they knew the answers and they didn't. So I started doing so many wrong things. So not only was it hard to start, but I made it harder for myself by doing the wrong things, then having to fix those things and go for it. It's like running a race when when the referee, you know, does the gun, running in the wrong direction, and then say, "Oh crap," and running back.
I'm 10 million steps behind. Exactly.
Yeah. From all of these steps behind, then I got to catch up to everybody else and try to outrun them. So I find that this beauty and entertainment industry is just not something that common sense would teach you. It isn't. It is not the same thing as other career paths. The way we do things is very interesting. I remember having no one to speak to about this. And, you know, I know that in hindsight, as I say, I thought I knew people, but they were too into their egos to tell me they didn't know. So they would give me wrong things to do or guess. So yeah, I get so many questions about it. And then, you know, I did bring up diversity earlier in multiple different ways. When we started having the lack of diversity and inclusion really pointed out, I had to say, well, why is there a lack of diversity and inclusion? Not only are many doors closed, but part of the reason they're closed is because we don't know how to get to them. We don't know how to knock on those doors. A lot of positions of power, there are very few women in them, even in beauty and entertainment. So I said, okay, I'm always here for Black people to make it better for them and provide the information, but also women. When the higher up you go, the less women you see and the less Black people you see. So I wanted to combat them, combat these problems by putting the information out there.
No, it's so needed. It's so needed. And like you're saying, especially as a Black woman, it's just the amount of things, and that kind of segues me into my next question, and then kind of like about your Textured Style Awards, which I feel like is so amazing. Again, it kind of wraps into the education bag, but also the praise and appreciation and the showing the skill set that is often not celebrated. And there really isn't a place for it where it is praised in a way of even makeup. Like makeup has awards a bunch, and there's so many big, it's not ever really, I know there's hair trade shows and whatever, like yes, but it's way more select. And I want you to really talk to us about, because I know this is new, you put in a lot of time, it's been a year in progress. So I know it was not overnight, but I want you to give us and tell us about it, what you know you're looking to accomplish with it, and also just where, again, it kind of came from as to why you were like, I need to do this on top of everything else you have going on, Monae.
Well, the Textured Style Awards came to mind and heart because I really talk about the importance of diversity. So styling all 4 hair textures: straight hair, wavy hair, curly hair, and kinky coily hair. And I had to start thinking, okay, so many models and actresses are coming forward and saying there are people who are unable to style their hair texture on set. Why? Of course, we know there is a lack of education in cosmetology school, but there's also a lack of models and textured hair talent on red carpets, on magazine covers. So I'm like, okay, we have this massive problem. What can I do to help fix it? I want to celebrate all 4 hair textures and the hairstylists who beautify them. I want to make it the norm to celebrate, you know, someone with straight hair, meaning not just straight hair, but what about stereotypically Asian hair? That hair that is so straight that in order to get beachy waves, you have to use a pencil-sized curling iron and a prayer because the hair won't curl. You know?
Yes.
I have clients that make political statements with their hair, who have very kinky, coily hair on red carpets. And you should see the amount of women who say, I've never seen someone with textured hair on the red carpet. So I want to make this education fun. I need to show the beauty in all 4 hair textures, first off. And secondly, show how your career can advance by doing all 4 hair textures, and celebrate the artists that do it. So I wanted the Texture Style Awards to make it fun, and I'm giving supplemental education on March 1st and 2nd for artists who maybe don't feel quite as comfortable. Free classes online, March 1st and 2nd. And yes, on top of that, artists ask me all the time, well, how did you get to work with celebrities? How do you do red carpets? How do you do this? How do you do that? You do it by getting media features, stuff like this. The winners are going to be featured all over the place. Modern Salon and many other media partners are going to pick up on the winners. You're going to get a brand new gift set for your kit from Well Company, who's sponsoring, and from Professional, who is also the tool sponsor. You're going to get one-on-one training from a Wella brand ambassador. Like, this is over $1,000 in prizes. It's going to be amazing. This is going to be career changing for any artist to have your work featured in major publications. It's going to be republished online, tons of different places. This is going to alter your career. This is going to put you on a trajectory for if you want to do something outside of the salon, but it's also going to help you if you want to stay in the salon. It's going to attract a different clientele for you, a higher end clientele. I have people say, I live in Omaha, Nebraska. Celebrities don't come here. Well, one, that's a lie. And two, maybe you want to be the hottest person in Omaha, the hottest hairstylist. You need these press features and things of that nature. So the Texture Style Awards came about because 70% of the world has hair that's considered textured. And I'm sick of that being overlooked, first off. Secondly, I want to make it fun to enjoy and celebrate hair texture.
1,000%. And on huge kudos, first of all, for just all of that. Because that's wild that it's not even just an award show and hey, yay, and here's you know what I mean? Like, there's so much more depth to it, and the amount of thought in what you just said and what you curated is massive and very major, because being able to, and I'm trying to put this in the right words, it's interesting that you've managed to find a way to be like, how is this going to be lucrative for whomever partakes in this for their career? Not just a seminar, not just a let me sit and tell you the things and then let you go. It's like you are really literally giving them physical tools, setting them up and putting them in opportunities, not just saying, guys, this is what I did and now I've given you the knowledge, so do it, which is wonderful, first of all, it is, but you're doing the extra mile things that, like you're saying, will literally be life-changing for their career.
Absolutely.
1,000%. And it's invaluable. Like, it's just, that's crazy. So I'm so proud and very excited. And I'm excited to push this and show it to the world as far as everything. You did a phenomenal job at it, because as far as taking a note out of your book, literally 1,000%, the marketing, the media, and a lot of people don't realize that, I think, because you can have all the talent in the world. You can be the most educated and diverse artist, but if you don't understand the business and the marketing side of it, you really could just be sitting in your apartment being the bee's fucking knees and nothing happens with you.
Nothing happens at all. I have a lot of really talented friends who think their career is not going how they want it, but I feel like I have been in a master's program for the last 10 years since I moved to New York. There's so much that we don't know, and this is why I named the book Get Out of Your Own Way, because there's so much I didn't know and so many things I had to make up for. And every time I think I know something, I found out, well, you kind of know it, but not really. This would have been a better way, and you took a really long way to get there, but I guess, and, you know, like.
No, it's needed. It's needed. And I feel like so many artists, even like yourself, I mean, there's so many, especially with the world and we live in an industry, we work in an industry that is forever evolving. So even once we do find a certain path of things that are working, inevitably it's going to change.
Yeah. And
you got to be on your toes.
And the up and down of being celebrity adjacent is you see what can happen with the proper team and work. And then you're still only you, because you're not making anywhere near what the celebrities you work with are making. So you see the possibilities are there, but how do you get there? Oh, great, I'll take on 50 other hyphenates in my title. Absolutely. Social media manager, marketer, copywriter, you know, host, shipping, PR, like it's just always more. Video editor, ads marketer, sure.
Oh my
Absolutely.
God. Do you ever get to a point though where you feel like, because we know, and especially where things are going, that all those titles are needed to propel ourselves where a lot of artists imagine and want their careers to go to? So having and knowing that that's a lot, you do it very well because you're handling. I don't know if you have a team like behind you and you have people doing things, or is it you, all you?
Meet my team, her, me. Well, I do have a friend who's a great partner and help, but you know, not an employee, you know?
Oh my God. Do you ever feel like that might change for you where you want to employ people and let it be like you have people taking care of your social media and other things? Or do you feel like for you, in order to move in the way you do, you want to be completely hands-on?
I would love to have a team. That is something I work towards. It's also another skill to be able to delegate. But what they don't tell you, they say, yes, you have to be able to delegate, but you have to be able to teach people to do what you want them to do. That's an additional skill. It's like everything you say, there's multi-hyphenate skills. And in order to scale your business up, you have to have mastered it. You have to have come up with systems. You have to have documented these systems. You have to make the systems teachable. You got to have all your passwords in one place. You got to have all of your if, ends, and maybes written out in one place. Like every skill is another skill. So the goal would certainly be to learn how to employ a staff, but besides money matters, because we know the money matters. People want to make money, but it's those other skills. And I'm working on not being a perfectionist, but I don't want to be a crap boss. Like I managed the salon for years, a multi-million-dollar salon, and I crashed course in management. But I learned it's easy to be a crap boss. Like I don't think a lot of bosses are crap bosses because they want to be. I think it's easier and they don't know how to be something different.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be a crap boss, especially in my own career, in my own business. So it's every time I'm ready to go, I gotta run back a few steps, learn those things, and then come forward. So it's.
I respect that though. Yeah, it's not easy, but I respect it because you're not doing anything half-assed. Yes. You're not just doing the things to do them because you know that they might need to be done. You're willing to take the time and do it properly and professionally and at the utmost. And that says a lot about your character and your professionalism and how you put any product out there and anything that's attached to your name, how it's going to look, be presented. So excellent to that. I love that.
Yes, because people remember and they always judge you for the not great thing you did.
Oh my God. Well over the good things. Yes. Always. Which is just, I don't know if that will ever change, unfortunately. Bad news always gets way more hype than good news always. So I don't understand that, but people, I guess, love the drama and the excitement of something going crazy.
So true.
I don't know why. And that being said, I want to kind of know when you were coming up, you mentioned it a little bit, where as far as like you coming up in the industry and sometimes you'd ask for advice and maybe it wasn't the proper advice. Is there anything that ever really stone cold stuck to you as something that you wish you coming up knew firsthand that now you definitely do, that you're like, damn, that was a really game changer to me, is which I knew now, or earlier on rather, sorry?
So many things. Talking less.
Oh, I'm mad that you're saying it because somebody told me that a while ago, and I really in my young mind was like, I couldn't fathom it. Yeah.
God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, but I heard that and I took it derogatorily, but it's so that you can learn more than you teach. There's other people in the world for you to learn from. I mean, there's so many things. When you ask me, like 106 things came to me at once. I'm trying to sort through them in my mind.
No, I'm appreciative of anything. Yeah.
What I shared earlier about having tools and products that multitask so you don't wear on your body. So many things. Knowing the business is probably more important than your skill.
Yeah.
And I've learned this in everything possible. Your skill, other people who are not in your industry have a difficult time for the most part saying if you're good at your skill. You get what I mean? So you have to know how to present yourself, be timely, make sure your stuff looks good and clean. Because other people, it would just be difficult for them to judge you. They don't know it enough, so they're judging you on those things.
Right, right. It's a full package what we offer as far as everything across the board, your presence on set, your physical kit, your portfolio, your website, everything is attached to your social media now at this point. Everything is a brand, everything is representing you, and you have to be super diligent about how across the board that's consistent and it aligns with who and what you want to represent. But I love your first note on just talking less, because it really will save you in a lot of situations. And like you said, you will end up learning more. Right, right. I've learned a lot. Because how young were you when you stepped into the game first off?
17.
Yeah, like that's same. So around that age, and you really, I always think of it as like, geez, like I'm a 17-year-old girl at that point, navigating life as a woman, and there's all the things that come with that. And then to tack on this very intense career. And like you said, it's very different from other careers, and not a lot of people have the blueprint, and everyone's blueprint is different. So navigating it for yourself is a lot. So you're inevitably going to make the mistakes. But yeah, it's for a lot of the listeners on here are definitely up and coming, and other people like that. And then a lot of some seasoned people as well. But I really just want to, I've seen so much narratives and teaching to younger artists that I feel like are just so backwards. And I'm like, no. I want to save them the time and effort, like you are, as we feel as well. It's like, I don't want to have to go through that or have them go through mistakes that are so easily avoidable without getting the wrong information.
Exactly. And I think I spoke so much out of nervousness, but also because I was so young, I always felt like I had to prove myself. And and we can't harp on enough. Everybody's your friend until it's inconvenient. And then they think back on things that were said that they might have been in full agreement with. And now it's
different. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. It's really hard. It's a really hard business in that sense. And always look out for yourself. I tell people that. Enjoy it. It's fun. You'll meet great people, but keep it here.
Yes, and take it for what it's worth and nothing more. Don't feel like you're owed anything more. Anything that anybody does for you is an extra. So like when I gave the example earlier of working all day and they not even offering food, I want to be very clear. I didn't ask them to go in their pocket. I've had situations where they want you to keep working. There's no time for you to get food. They won't let you order, or you're on the go, they have food and you can't. But humans need food.
Right. Hello.
And I remember one distinct time, this was career changing, where this happened. We were going all around LA. We were going to multiple different locations, and none of those places had food around it. We were told, well, when you get to this last place, they have food. Great. We got there, that cafeteria was closed. My client sat 5 foot in front of me and ate multiple meals. I was seeing stars. And when I said something to her rep about, okay, I'm just going to run and grab something, or they wouldn't even order for me when they had ordered. I'm just going to run and grab something. They told me I could go home.
Isn't it the wildest thing? Like, I've had similar situations, and it's like, I don't understand where the human gets left out. The human is what we're doing, that I'm a human working on a human. In order to do my job, we've had a whole episode of the podcast simply about health and taking care of yourself on sets, where we're set up for failure, essentially, with not the proper setup, not enough time to eat. We're working for the 8 hours straight, and you're crashing now, and there's no consideration for a break or even just like a snack at the most. So it is wild. I've learned in those instances to come prepared and bring something to snack on, something to bite on, which is, but again, it's a ridiculous notion, because the principle is still there that I shouldn't have to think in that way. I should be taken care of when I'm doing a service, essentially.
Well, it's funny because someone else told me, oh, well, how come you don't have snacks? A snack bar is not enough to sustain anybody for 8 hours. Even 4 snack bars is not. But for me, it might have been my age. It might have been how long I have been in it. The amount of disrespect to me was just a bit too much. Like, I remember it. As I'm telling you the story, it's like I'm sitting there watching.
Oh no, 1,000%. And I feel like people, that's where another thing we can dive into a little bit, because I think it's really important, is people will often, as artists, when we start, because again, we work in essentially what is it? It's like hospitality, because we're helping,
Yeah.
we're providing a service that's very intimate and accommodating. I'm here to, you know, appease you, soothe you, you know, make you look your best. So it's hard, because then if I want to put my foot down and I want to demand something in order for me, again, just to do my job, not that I'm asking for anything above and beyond here. It's food and water. We think that's pretty basic. It's interesting to me how it will get perceived as you're asking for too much, or you're needy, or you're bougie, or you're being, you know, demanding. And it's like, I just know my worth. And I also know that I'm a human being that's at a base level. Level for respect and how you would treat somebody. Because even when I'm out booking test shoots, where you know people are working for free and they're giving their time, not only am I making sure we don't go over on time, but you're going to be provided with food and water. And if there is no budget for that in that sense, I'm telling people, take the breaks, please bring snacks, reminding them to eat, you know, whatever it is, because it's just as important to me to get the job and the product done that you guys are taking care of, and that the day went smoothly and you weren't just dying for 5 hours for an image that won't be worth it at the end of the day for me, that you felt like shit. So why?
Girl, I remember being on a set for a major production. Like if I said their name, everybody would know it.
Yeah.
And lunchtime being set up, making my plate, going through the line, and they came and got us and said, we want you to stand on call for in case the artist decides to come back.
No. Like, fully waiting in line to have lunch. And take a break.
No, I just made my plate. They were like, no, we didn't schedule in lunchtime.
That's
with
crazy.
a straight, I mean, this is a major company.
Yeah.
So not only, so they specifically didn't schedule time for me, but everybody else could have lunch.
It's so disappointing, but it's not surprising. That's the sad part. It's not surprising. And unfortunately, that's another thing I learned on that notion of a big company. I really thought, I'm in the union, I really thought the higher caliber I got in the spaces I'd be allowed in, I'm like, it's going to get better and smoother.
Not always.
Surprise. Not always. Sometimes. Not
there's
always.
There's many ups, but those downs sting so
they're
bad.
Really low.
They're like scorpions. It's like a new low. Like I never imagined being in this situation. And they told my agent when I refused to stop eating. And that was a real conversation.
Oh my God. Did you hopefully at least had an agent that went to bat for you and was like, no? I'll take the eye roll. I'll take the eye roll. That's a whole other discussion, girl.
Not worth it. I mean, there are so many ups to what we do, and I don't want to sound negative by any means, but no one told me about any of the downs, and I'm telling you, the downs will sting way more than that. Like I, had 2 features in Vogue this month, and I have to like think back and recall it. Like I'm excited, but I remember those foods. Incidents.
No, 1,000. No, that's the thing. We could sit here, but you know the difference about this podcast, and hopefully it doesn't have this negative connotation around it, but the whole point of me doing it too is to talk about the real. Because there's so many spaces where people get up, and it's all the award shows and the big trade shows, and they get up and you hear these beautiful success stories, the quick 15-minute how my life came to be, and it's always so like cool, but I know that it wasn't that easy. And I know it wasn't all cute the whole time. So it's never a way that I want to be negative. I want to be honest, because it's a very up and down career. And especially being a freelancer, you ride that wave, especially when you're booked and not booked. The lulls, like you're saying, they hit pretty hard. I think the difference about people, going back to longevity, and you clearly have proven it, is that no matter the lulls you've hit, you have found a way to persevere. And I don't know you on that personal level where I knew how long maybe you could be down for a moment. Because listen, quarantine, I needed it because I wanted to take a year off. I was at the point in my career, and I'm only about 7-8 years in, and I've hit a place where I'm like, ooh, things were getting too low, to the point where I'm like, I need to step away for a second, because I don't want to start reassess, realign, refigure out who and what I want to be around and what I want to do, because it was getting too messy. And it was just like, not on a people said, just like where and how it was going. And I was like, oh, this isn't what I wanted it to be. And I know that I'm in control of my life and my career, so why not step back and do that? Because Lord have mercy. Have you ever felt like where you're at in your career? I know we talk about the power of no a lot as artists. are you at that space where you're willing to take ample amounts of time off? Are you still you don't like to, or where do you stand in that?
Depends on where I am at the moment.
Yeah.
I would say if quarantine were not here, I would say no to more jobs, but we're all booked less. And you know, one thing you asked earlier, one thing that I would recommend to younger artists is one thing that I did get right was I'm known for being very frugal. Save your money because people pay you when it's convenient for them to pay you.
Yes.
And you don't know if you're always going to be busy. A lot of these checks take 2 to 6 months.
Oh my God. Yep. Yep.
So even if you're really busy now, who knows where you're going to be in 6 months. So I don't say no quite as often, but I've also developed other ways to support myself. Like I love public speaking. I went to school for communications and sociology. And, you know, my family has been trying to figure out for many years what I do. Because they cannot comprehend it because it is not what I went to school for.
Oh my God.
90% of the world is not given the opportunity for upper education. So I have these degrees and my family's like, that's wonderful. You still playing in hair from time to time?
No, not the play.
It's kind of my career, but so, you know,
successful mom. Yeah.
So I love teaching, educating, and speaking. So I'm really passionate about that and so happy I'm able to do that now. Like I wrote my second book, Get Out of Your Own Way, at the beginning of quarantine. I've been really focusing on my classes and mentorship for other artists because there's such a hole in the market. And, you know, quarantine and the COVID scare brought me the clarity on the Texture Style Awards. Like I started thinking about it very early in quarantine. So I'm really excited that that quarantine birthed something great for me.
Yes.
You know, what if they say this was like the, oh my gosh, redistribution of wealth, and wealth is not always money. Trust me, your girl ain't making more. But
no, I feel you. Yep.
Wealth is in health, wealth is in opportunity, wealth is in so many different things. And at bare minimum, COVID and making me sit home for 6 months. I don't know if I left my house in 5 months.
I feel,
Yeah, not even grocery shopping. I was very fortunate to have that taken care of by my brand new boyfriend at the beginning of quarantine. Brand new. It was like God put him in my life. It was like, yeah, you might not want to leave, so got you covered.
We're going to give you somebody that's going to help here.
Help me with this, because you don't know what's happening, but it's just about to get real, you know?
That's real. I love that.
So I started quarantining. I had one client at the end of February, but I basically have been quarantining for over a year. Wow. Like even 6 weeks before everyone else was quarantining. So quarantine has been rough, but it's been really helpful in a lot of different areas of my life.
Hugely. I'm so glad to hear that, because a lot of, I feel like artists like yourself, it's never surprising to me that when we get these down, we flourish. Because we have the time to really, and at first it always blows. I think it's human nature to adjust to like, wait, what's going on? And we're used to the go, go, go. But in the moments where we really can sit, hone in on what we want to do, give ourselves the patience and the time, and you do have the time to really go through all the motions of what you need to focus on and do, you'll come out and develop and do really great products. You still have to have that line of focus. I've had to learn that balance of, yes, I have all the free time in the world, but I need structure. I realize how much structure in my day-to-day actually helps me fuel my creativity and also just being productive. I didn't realize, because I thought, oh, once I have all this time in the world, I'll get it. No, I'm a procrastinator to the utmost. So I was like, wow, I need some form of get my shit together or else I'll never do anything, which I also love because I can be lazy as hell. So I'm like, great, but I'm very glad you prospered.
I can sleep like an Olympic sport. I always tell people that.
A winner. Yeah, it can win it now. Easy.
Yes. But okay, so there's a scale. It's from oh my God, I go to talk and forget the word. From self-motivation to self-sabotage, right?
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
Both of them are all about you, and you got to decide where you're going to fall. And I call my mom crying about it all the time.
Oh my God.
Because it's really difficult to self-motivate every day, all day. And you're the one checking, you're the one deciding if it's right. You're the one reaping the benefits or lack thereof benefits. And if you don't do it, if you don't self-motivate, then you're moving closer to self-sabotage. And that's a really tough pill to swallow too. Why didn't you get that thing that was really important to you? Oh, you forgot? You didn't try? You didn't email?
Right.
You didn't follow up? You didn't get back to them?
It all falls back on you.
Everything falls back. There is no whereabout there. Like I tell people,
wow.
There's a great side of having a 9-to-5. At bare minimum, you have somebody to go to if there's a problem,
Right.
and you know when your check is coming. You
right.
get what I'm saying? That there is a benefit to that consistency, and everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. It's not for everyone. It's a daily gamble, and when it goes great, it is amazing.
Yeah, it's euphoric, truly. But when it's the in between. Is the in between. Wow, you put it in perspective for me, because even at times I can now I'm seeing it and it helps me visually as an art, that the self-sabotage to the that's really major.
Yeah.
Because it is crazy that day to day I and you and we are in control of how productive we are, what we accomplish, how we function. It's incredible, especially when you're the brand owner in your business and everything else. So that's insane.
Yeah, and I don't want to put any doubt on or any extra pressure on anybody who is personally affected by COVID.
Yeah, no.
This
could be the time that, 1,000. No, go ahead.
Just for the sake of this conversation, I'm going to assume that you are not personally affected, as in grieving a loved one or in a situation where you are unable to function. So just for the sake of this conversation.
Yeah, no, definitely.
If you are not in a situation where you are physically unable to function or dealing with caring for a loved one, how do you want to come out of this quarantine? And if your answer is just well rested, wonderful. But live up to whatever it is that you want to do. If you want to come out of it with a new focus, if you want to come out of it with new skills and new education, great. But you're going to be the one responsible for getting yourself there.
Yes, yes. And even just to add on that, because that's wonderfully said, is that if, like you're saying, back to if it's truly just to get through this and manage and take care of yourself and rest, kudos. Because majority of us, we've never been allotted this time to do so. So to not feel bad about that you haven't been as productive when we're booked and busy and everything else. It's everyone is on their own timeline. There's no rush. Everything is meant for you when it's going to come. So don't feel the comparison game, and when people are advancing or doing things in quarantine and booking all these cool online new opportunities and things, segueing, don't be intimidated by their journey. Yours is meant for you, and you are just right on time. I always say you're right on time for where you're meant to be. It's nobody else's thing but your own. So 1,000%.
Absolutely.
Monae, my last question for you is, I want to know, you've given us I love speaking with you. I don't want to get off here, but I know you have a day. So I was like, I want to give you one more question. What is something you would tell your younger self as your current self right now? What is something that you would want to tell like your 18, 17-year-old self, Monae, if she was here today?
Oh God, I hate that the most taboo thing comes to mind, which is you are enough. You are enough.
But that's major. It's major, because it's a huge, you came into this game so young. I can't even imagine, like, what? That's crazy.
Yeah, I used to be scared to tell people how old I was, and they would definitely treat me differently when they found out. So I've clearly updating myself, and now you can tell how old I am.
Please, oh my God.
But it's
There's
funny
so
how
much
it
strength
flips.
in age. I want it. Yeah.
The wisdom, that wisdom
Huge.
is really huge and important. Yeah, absolutely.
Wisdom, experience. I'm here for all of it, just because it's just, I don't know, especially in this career, you only continue to gain more, what is the word? It's not admiration, but you get more respect throughout this career. Because if I come into a room and I say, I'm a 20-year, makeup artist, I've been doing this for 20 years, 50 years, there's something to that. And it is well respected, I feel like, in the community when you come back with that. In other jobs, maybe it's like, geez, or they'll look at it in a different way. But I feel like we get a lot of respect for artists that
look, unless it's fashion. Unless it's fashion, and they're like, oh my God, you're old. Should we trust this one?
No. That's true. They're like, wait, we need new all the time, and you've outdated yourself. 30's old to them, so whatever. I'm like, I can't.
Exactly.
But I love that. You are more than enough. That's beautiful, Monae. Thank you so much for all your gems. I'm so excited about the Texture Style Awards. It's a huge accomplishment amongst your books, your classes, everything you have going on. You are a true blessing. I really, really appreciate all your insight today, just spending time with me. So thank you so much for coming on.
You are so welcome. Thank you for helping me to get the word out. The Texture Style Awards are going to be amazing.
So
entries are open now through March 27th, 2011. And I'm throwing out the year because I know your podcast is so popular. People may be listening to this for years to come. I'm looking to see the response. Like, let's see if we get more. If it's a good response, maybe it's something, you know, we will do again. But texturestyleawards.com, or follow me at Texture Style Awards on Instagram, and we're going to get this thing moving.
Yay, Monae, thank you. And to back her up, we're gonna put everything below for you guys to make it right easy, all the hyperlinks and everything to what you'll need to sign up, to log in. Let's go. Follow Monae, and we'll see you guys next time.